Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 85 is a simple cleanup bill that corrects a mistake that the Kentucky Court of Appeals made regarding KRS Chapter 220 on the appropriateness of sanitation district charges. Our laws presently indicate that you must be a user before receiving a charge from sanitation districts. Unfortunately, in the Sanitation District 1 versus Weinel case, the Court of Appeals essentially said that a user is any resident under the district. That is not the intent of this legislature. It was not the intent of those who codified KRS Chapter 220. And that is the purpose of House Bill 85, to put up guardrails to make clear about when these charges are appropriate. It gives 5 specific instances in which it is appropriate. First of all, when a property is connected to a sanitary sewer that is connected to the property. Second, when the property flows wastewater to a storm sewer, or the storm sewer flows to the properties. Fourth, when there is a contract with the property owner. Or fifth, when there is an approved plan by the EEC to have services connected within 5 years. Mr. Speaker, I do have a floor amendment to define the term discharge. So would the clerk please report House Floor Amendment 2?
Mr. Clerk, please report.
House Floor Amendment 2 to House Bill 85.
Gentleman from Boone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Floor Amendment 2 simply defines discharge as water that flows from a property to a sanitation district owned or maintained property. Just to give clarity to the sanitation districts of what this change would entail, it also codifies a 1,000-foot limitation. This is what is presently done by Sanitation District 1 up in northern Kentucky. So this is just codifying their current practice and offering clarity. And for that reason, I move for adoption of House Floor Amendment 2.
Question for the body is on adoption of House Floor Amendment 2. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. House Floor Amendment 2 is adopted. Gentleman from Boone.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And further, on the 5th prong of an approved plan by the EEC, there was an issue that was brought to me by another member, and for that reason, I would like to yield to the gentleman from Boyd 100 for a friendly amendment.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Boyd.
Mr. Speaker, when I was talking with the bill sponsor, I noticed in the bill that there was no mechanism in which to recoup the money from customers, to recoup the money if they were not hooked up within 5 years. So in coordination with the sponsor, we drafted House Floor Amendment 1, which I asked that the clerk report.
Mr. Clerk, please report.
House Floor Amendment 1 to House Bill 85.
Gentleman from Boyd.
All this amendment does is it gives the customer a mechanism in which to go back and recoup any money that he has been given if he has not been hooked up within the appropriate amount of time.
Move for adoption.
And I move for adoption.
Question for the body is on adoption of House Floor Amendment 1. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. House Floor Amendment 1 is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman from Boone.
Mr. Speaker, House Bill 85 is a common sense reform to just ensure that the intent of this legislature is followed. It puts up basic guardrails to protect property owners who are not receiving services, particularly in our rural areas, to ensure that they are not being subjected to charges that we as a legislature never intended for them to be subject to. For those reasons, I move for adoption of House Bill 85 as amended by House Floor Amendments 1 and 2.